Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to looking at another Nerf blaster on the channel. My name is Luke Triton and today we're looking at the Modulus Recon Mark II. This is not the successor to the Recon Mark I. If I understand everything correctly, the Retaliator succeeded the Recon, this succeeded the Retaliator, but the Delta Trooper succeeded all of them altogether. So yeah, this is a bit of a funky blaster. It is in the Modulus line, so it does come with two attachments, which is very cool. It has a tactical rail on the top priming handle, one on the side, and it is sold with 6-dart magazine. Very cool indeed. So in this series we look at Nerf blasters and we decide whether it's worth buying them if you don't have one already. This is of course opinion based, but the ultimate decision to purchase it for yourself is down with you. So let's have a look at the blaster itself. I want to kind of get this bit out of the way because there's more I really want to get into. So this is based on the Recon Mark I, so the priming handle is on the top. It's fairly big, you can see that whole unit there moving on both sides so you know where it is. It doesn't collide with anything that you would put here on the side, which is pretty cool. You tend to put like a torch or a laser or something small there. It's actually very close to that rail, so as you see where I'm moving it, the bottom of the handle is actually kind of close. Again, in my experience using a torch for example, there's no collision, so it's alright. This is the jam door. If in the event you have a jam, you can open this up, get your fingers in there, sort things out. Again, the magazine that is included is a 6-dart magazine. I don't know why Nerf are still making these are now pointless. And now we move on to something else regarding magazines. So, you prime this back, you go, oh, I've got my drums, I've got stick mags, what should I go for? Personally, I'll go for a drum. If you know me, obviously that's what I'll go for. But, where did there it is. Most other people tend to go for arguably the most popular magazine, the 18-dart stick magazine. They go, alright, here we go, we're going to put this in, we're going to prime this forward, have some fun. Now, this is actually a fluke because I'm deliberately setting this up to show this next problem. Watch this. There we are. With some effort, you can actually pull this out. So the ultimate bad thing about this, with the 18-dart stick magazine, this is the only one I have, and this Raven battery area does not affect what I'm about to demonstrate. I actually need to put the blaster down as well to show off this bit. The 18-dart stick magazine was first introduced with the Stampede. And there's this little bump here, and that's just to fill the gap between the magazine well and the trigger guard. So it was only literally just from the edge of the magazine to the edge of this bump. It was absolutely tiny. But every 18-dart stick mag that's come out after since has had that bump. On the Recon Mark II, on the magwell, you can see it kind of dips down, which is not good at all, because both bumps bump together, and it's not staying in. So if I actually, right, I'm going to hold this with, can I do this? Yeah, okay, so here we go. I've got my hand on the blaster and the magazine, that's what's holding it into place, but as soon as I let go of the magazine, that's falling out. So how was I able to hold it in earlier? I'm pressing the two together and I'm forcing the priming handle forward. That's the only way to get this in. After your first shot, you're basically going to break the rest of your darts as soon as you pull this backwards. So hopefully, if I demonstrate this correctly, there it is. My fingers were not on the trigger guard, or the magazine release I should say. They were all kept to themselves, and that is very bad design. I don't like that it can't take the 18-dart stick mag because it is one of the most popular magazines Nerf has ever made, and that kind of reduces the quality of this blaster. Let me actually pick this up because I don't want my magazines to be broken. We'll put that over there. Now then, so that's kind of everything to cover on the blaster. When I first heard about that, I thought that can't be true, but it is, it's really true, and that sucks. Right, we need to move on to the attachments now, because these are very interesting to me. Oh, here we go. So first of all, the stock. This is the smallest stock I've ever seen Nerf make. I don't have a Retaliator, so I can't compare the Retaliator stock to this one. I do have a Raider stock. So comparing the lengths, is just a smidgen smaller, so it's not really difficult, not easy to see I should say, but the Raider stock, even in its collapsed position, is just bigger than this. So, why would anybody use this? I don't know, if you're like 3 years old and you're playing Nerf for the first time, maybe you would use this, but I genuinely don't know anyone who would actually want to put this on a blaster. That's okay though, because I'll be taking this apart for a custom attachment in the future. We'll take that off for now because I want to focus on the barrel, which I think is rather funky looking. It is a small barrel. This is obviously something that you would put on the end of other barrels. The best comparison I can make it towards is the Modulus barrel. So if I connect this all together, there we are. It's not a very uniform look, but this is the only sort of combination I would use it for. It doesn't look too bad, but at the same time, again, like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't look too good. It does have a tactical rail on the bottom, so that's pretty cool. So you can put a grip on there, which I think is very nice. It does have a front sight piece. Nerf blasters are never going to be accurate, but it's nice that that's there. So if you're using a close quarters combo, this is somewhat ideal. You could just stick this on the end, get a torch on there. It's not too bad. But it's weird. It's limiting in its own way. It's very small. The tactical rail is fairly small. Again, torch or a grip, something like that would be good. Nothing too heavy, I would recommend. But there's definitely worse barrels out there. That has to be, right? Yeah, let's just go ahead and say yes, because there are definitely worse barrels out there. Right, let's put the whole thing together. Let's get that magazine back in. Have a final... Oh yeah, that reminds me. So, I nearly forgot this in the previous take. So, this is the priming handle all the way back. That is me pulling the trigger. All of that space of me pulling the trigger is doing nothing. I'm now going to prime that forward, and the blaster is now ready to fire. So I'm going to pull the trigger, and I need to make sure you can see this. So I'm going to pull the trigger up to there. That is doing nothing. I have to pull the trigger a little bit further to actually fire the blaster. So there's two stages with this trigger. So the first stage is all that space, and the second stage is very little space to actually activate the blaster. So this is interesting because whilst I've grown to not like this blaster, but more grown to get used to this blaster, I still wouldn't recommend it. If you bought a brand new one from the box, you're getting a tiny barrel, you're getting a tiny stock, you're getting the smallest magazine. It can't even take bigger, well, it can take every other magazine, it just can't take the 18 dart magazine. The trigger mechanism is something that apparently was also in the Retaliator, so that's another bad thing as well. And whilst this is comfortable to pull, you're having to use more energy when you pull the trigger, and that's not a good thing. Customization is a good thing though, because again, 2 tack rails and extension points on both ends. But ultimately, if you saw this in the shops, skip it. This isn't a blaster worth buying because there's so much more better blasters out there. Again, the new Delta Trooper, that was the successor to this. It has slam fire, it has bigger accessories. It's just a better blaster. So so let me just end this here because ultimately it's just not good. They could have done so much more with this. With the Recon Mark I, they had a barrel, a longer barrel mind you, a laser, a sight, and a better stock, one that was actually functional. It could hold a magazine. Speaking of which, now that I've done a Recon Mark I and a Recon Mark II video, now that I've done my opinions on whether these are worth buying, it's time to do a video comparing the two. Of the two Recons, which one should you buy? Stick around for that episode to come out because that is going to be very interesting. So that's it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.